We are in Gauteng Street in Pretoria, where the Tshwane municipality's bad building committee has been looking at some of the bad and hijacked and dilapidated buildings in the capital.
We got a court ruling that gave us permission to demolish buildings that were buildings that were erected illegally, that did not follow building regulations, or they didn't get approval for that. So it's very important that we do get the support from the courts so that we can deal with it, because the city is on a mission to make sure that we stamp out lawlessness, but we also revitalize our buildings. So we are going to be bringing to council a derelict building law that will empower us as a city council to be able to address owners that are not looking after their buildings, but also be able to expropriate those buildings where they owe us money and they are not looking after those buildings. So we will then be able to take those buildings, either convert them for student accommodation, or we then put them on the market for businesses to be able to invest, because we really want to achieve investment into the city, and we also make sure that we deal with the issue of student accommodation. You have seen around the country students protesting for accommodation. That's what we also want to help address, because we've got a lot of buildings that can be used, but they're sitting like this one, dilapidating.
Now, this is one building that the Tshwane municipality has received a court order to actually demolish. Now, this building started off as a house. However, the house was demolished and the property owner, a man by the name of George Osaba, built a residential complex. Now, the issue with this residential complex is that it didn't comply with the city's zoning laws, and he never had permission to build a multi-story complex. As you have seen, there's a lot of people that live there, from families, women and children, who've been living there for quite some time now. And now the issue that is facing the city is that while it has an eviction and a demolition order, is that what happens to the 100 or maybe 200 people that actually live there. Now, we have spoken to some of the residents who didn't want to speak on camera, but they have told us that they pay around 2,000 Rand for rent, and they have asked that where else in the Pretoria inner city would you find a place that can offer them rent for 2,000? A lot of them work in and around the Pretoria inner city, and they do understand that while the buildings are unsafe and while they do not live in the best of conditions, they say that this is the best they can afford, and that the city should take that into consideration if it does eventually move forward with demolishing the residential complex. Now, we do understand that a tentative date for the demolition has been set down for the 15th of April. Now, the question facing the city is what happens to the people currently living here. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News in Pretoria.